I'm Natalia Hasso from Inclusion is Sweet, and this is the Richard Wilmore Show. On today's show, actor and producer Ron Hanks and life coach Stacey Andon are back to talk about faking it. Hit it, Big Infinite.
Make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door. It's the Richard Wilmore Show.
I gotta give thanks because I got Ron Hanks.
And now, here's Richard.
Natalia,
Richard!
that was amazing. And you don't sound like a robot. Who knew?
Yay!
Yay!
That's what we're trying to do.
How are you on this Monday morning?
I'm good. You know, it's a Monday morning.
That is the most Stacey Andon background color I think I've ever seen in my entire life. That purple is amazing.
It has glitter in it too. You can't really see, but
Oh no. I see Stacey in the green room. Her mouth is like this big right now because she's so excited about it. Is that at home or is that at where is that?
No, at home.
And you have glitter walls at home.
Yeah, I do.
That is amazing. What do you do over there at Inclusion is Sweet? What is your role?
I'm the executive director of Inclusion is Sweet, and I also founded it.
Wow. What made you decide to do that? And tell everybody about it. I think it's such an amazing idea and organization that I wanted to have you on to talk about it. So tell everybody about it.
Yeah, so Inclusion is Sweet is a nonprofit organization. We are focused on providing vocational and pre-vocational training to people with disabilities. So we noticed that there was a gap because there's a lot of programs that offer direct supported employment and things like that. But some of our friends with disabilities just aren't ready to be directly in the workforce or even to work on direct work skills yet. There's still social skills that need to be worked on and different life skills that need to be worked on. So we founded this organization to kind of fill that gap and offer pre-vocational training so that our friends are one day ready for the workplace.
I love that. And when did you start it?
We founded it in November of 2018, and then we became an official 501c3 in May of 2019.
I love that. How's it going so far? What has been the response? I'm sure amazing.
It's good. It's a wild ride.
Yeah.
So we initially started out baking as our main fundraiser. So we would sell cupcakes all over the city, and we got in a few news articles, and we had so many cupcakes for sale for a while there. And then we started running programming and transitioned into more of a nonprofit model. So we started, having fundraisers and getting donations. And then it just kind of all took off from there. So we started having in-person programming pre-COVID. And then when COVID hit, it's really been a blessing for our organization, honestly, because we've been able to reach so many more people. We started in March or April with virtual programming every week. We would do a webinar Wednesday. So we would do something educational, either for parents and families or for the community, or for even just for our friends with disabilities. So we would do a drum circle, or we had, a panel on life insurance and long-term planning. And then summer came around, so we had to do virtual summer camp. And after virtual summer camp, one of our campers, Joseph, came to me and he was like, "Hey, you guys should start a virtual day hab." And I was like, "A virtual day hab? What kind of no, I don't want to be on Zoom all day." But then, I kind of thought about it, and I was like, well, a lot of day habs are closed right now. A lot of people, especially adults with disabilities, literally have nothing to do all day, every day. So I said, you know what, maybe that's not the worst idea. So we started doing virtual day program 2 days a week at the beginning of this semester, and we're going to continue that probably at least through this semester and probably until we see a light at the end of the tunnel with COVID.
Yeah, and even well, this brings up something that I work for an arts and health nonprofit, and I would love to do something with you guys over Zoom. And we do art, we do music, we do writing, so we could probably collaborate on something and help you guys out with your programming. That would be awesome. We'll talk after the show. This is what I love about this show. So, so have you always been a baker?
Not really. I guess I kind of got my start working in disability service. When I was around like 15 or 16, I started working at Camp, which is a camp for teens and all kids and adults with disabilities in Center Point, which is near Kerrville. So I worked there for about 2 or 3 summers, and then just kind of got a passion for inclusion and disability rights. So straight out of high school, I was like, I have to do something about this. So here I go, starting a nonprofit, and then
as you do.
Here I am. Yeah, as you do. Same year you graduate from high school.
What else are you gonna do? How can people support Inclusion is Sweet?
Yeah, so we have a wide variety of programs, like I said, so always open to having more people sign up for our programming. Everything is at our website at shelbysweets.org/virtual. For support, we have a donation link on our website as well, and then we run fundraisers from time to time. We just finished having a Krispy Kreme fundraiser, so that was super fun.
I saw
yeah.
And maybe there was a huge line the other day outside of Krispy Kreme. Maybe I'm hoping that was for you.
Yeah, it's all because of us. No, just kidding.
And it was at like 8:30 at night, almost 9 o'clock, and I was like, all right, whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It is crazy.
And then we're still selling our 2020 Fiesta medals, the Fiesta that never was. Those are available on our website as well. And then we're hosting our first ever big fundraiser in April of 2021, outside, socially distanced, pending COVID regulations, called Champions for Inclusion. But all of that information is available on our website as well.
Great. Check out Inclusion is Sweet. It's a great organization. Talia, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, anytime. I'm around. You're here. You have the link. You can join in anytime.
Every week. I'll call in.
That's fine by me. That's fine by me. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Thank you. She's so sweet. All right. We could probably start the show. I have this new thing that I really want to try out. So we're going to walk this way. Look how cool this is. Look. I have like a little camera operator. And then we just move. Well, it's very slow, apparently. But it's here. And that's really all that matters. It works. It's a little less work for me. Anyway, that was cute. I love Natalia. She's so sweet. All right, our first guest, actor, producer, and I'm pretty sure has one of the cutest kids I have ever seen in my life. Please welcome Ron Hanks. Hi, Ron.
Hi. Oh, that is so sweet. He is, he's been up since 2 a.m., so I don't know how cute he is today. No, he's cute.
For you, yes. For the rest of us on your Instagram, he is adorable.
Well, I have nothing left to, COVID has left me with no work, right? So it's just like posting pictures of my child, which it's really worked out. It's been great.
I mean, puppies and children will get you everywhere, right?
Maybe he can make an appearance later. I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad about it. I would not be mad. So you're in California, yes?
Yeah. Thank you for having me, by the way. It's very nice to be on here.
I'm glad that I'm not the reason you got up so early.
No,
so
exactly.
I'm thankful for that.
You get up that early, you start pounding sugar cookies and coffee. And so, this tree was not decorated until just now.
I saw you back there. I saw you in the green room. You were like, crap. Yes, I saw that.
I was hanging up lights all around as quickly as I could. I wanted to make a splash.
A grand. 'Tis the season. So tell me how the little kid from Arkansas grows up to be this guy. You have your own production company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How does that happen?
How does that happen? I think it takes a lot of, I wish there was a way to say there was a through line for all of this. And I knew all along that this is exactly what was going to happen. But, I would take little diversions. I mean, I spent a lot of time in theater itself. I went to the theater school at DePaul University in Chicago, got my MFA in acting there. And I wanted to do theater. I wanted to do Broadway. I wanted to do straight theater. Everything. I didn't think about film and TV, and I certainly didn't think about a production company. Even when I moved to New York, just did theater. When I moved to LA, it was like, theater scene out here is a little different. How about film and TV? And I was entering it at an older age. And so I just didn't have this, like, I just wanted a little more control. I just wanted a little more control over my project. So right away, I wanted to write, direct, and produce projects. There was like this idea at the time too of make your own work. You have to make your own stuff. You have to get it out there. So I was really inspired by people that were doing that. YouTube had just really started. So I was really inspired by people putting stuff out on YouTube of their own and thought I could do it. And my girlfriend, now wife, she happens to be a cinematographer. And boy, doesn't that help things. That helps things tremendously.
Keeps that budget in check.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
And she's so talented and so wonderful. And our first thing we shot was this short film on a wild boar ranch, crazy, and called Dirt Eaters, about people who eat dirt. Really weird and artistic and weird. But that short film, working with that crew, it really was like a film school for me. And then we went on to do a feature, which we can talk about a little bit. And I don't know. I feel like I never knew I would end up here. I wanted to be in movies. I wanted to be in film. I wanted to be in theater. I just didn't know how. Yeah.
So you grew up in Arkansas. I grew up in Wisconsin. Not a lot of access to like theater or the arts in general. How did you fall in love with it in Arkansas?
I mean, I think that I would say that the first falling in love with it was really from what was it called? It was like Turner Classic Movies. There's TCM.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's where I first started watching old movies and these old crazy musicals and wonderful things that I just didn't know even existed. I fell in love with that sometime in, junior high school or high school, because again, we had a couple of theaters in Little Rock that were awesome. I've worked for both of them. And they definitely gave me a push towards it, but watching old musicals, old movies is what really inspired me. And then watching comedies such as Laugh-In on Nick at Night, these reruns of these old shows gave me a really weird sense of humor, like stuck in the 60s. What?
Yes.
But funny.
Yes, that Nick at Night humor is, I remember being like, when my mom would let us stay up late enough to watch like I Love Lucy, and those were always like the special nights to see that classic stuff. Is so you don't see it anymore.
Right.
You really don't.
Well, those old classic SNL sketches, because that's what Nick at Night started doing when they first started. They would start showing on Nickelodeon these old SNL sketches at like 9 p.m. at night, and I would stay up and watch them, and just got a really weird sense of humor, I think, from all of that.
What was it like when you first moved to New York?
Oh my gosh. I was a fish out of water in the sense of, I was just like soaking everything in and absorbing it all, and just like in this tourist mindset. I really lucked out and got my first audition. I went to this audition. It was for a show called The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I went in. It was like on the 10th floor of this building in New York, and it was like what you imagine. It was like a dance studio thing with the windows in the background. I could see the skyline, and I'm like, there's one guy sitting way over there at the edge. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm in there and I'm doing my thing and blah, blah, blah. And I get a call back for it. So I go in a couple days later, I do the call back, and now there's more people, and they're all whispering, and they're like, well, your resume, you have nothing from New York. How long have you been here? And I was like, I moved here Monday. I mean, like, there's something about being naive that pays off. And so the story goes that basically I moved on Monday to New York. The audition was say on Tuesday. Thursday I had the call back, and Friday I go to watch the David Letterman show tape. And I got the free tickets thing, and I go and I'm sitting there. You have to turn your phone off, right? So I get out of the David Letterman show, and I have a message, and it's from the show, and it was a national tour. And so I booked it. I was Peter, the oldest brother in the show, and it was with Theater Works. So I was able to get my equity card, and all this happened in the first 5 days. And I was like, I'm definitely going to get hit by a bus. I'm going to be like in Elf, where he's walking across the street, and then the taxi. This just doesn't happen, I suffered later, trust me. Later. But boy, that was such a good first week in New York.
And then you're touring the country, which is awesome.
We toured with that show. It was such a great learning experience, and I think I might have mentioned to you that about how when I got my equity card, my actual like actor's equity card, you have to go to this little office, you know, and maybe this has changed now. I think it has, but it was just this really, it looked like the DMV, and there's just these like actors going up like, hello, can I please have, you know, my retirement money or whatever. They're like, no, you know. And so I go up and they're like, can I help you? I mean, I was like, yes, I'm getting my equity card.
Jazz hands, yeah.
Look at me. And she's like, what's your name? And I'm like, Ron Hanks. And she goes, no. I'm like, no, my name is Ron Hanks. She was like, no, that's taken. I'm like, you can't take, what are you talking about? She goes, just a minute. You know, she's like, what's that, Roz from the Monsters Inc.?
Yes,
you know,
yes.
She starts typing, just a minute. Yeah. She's like, Ron Hanks. No, Tom. I've got Tom. Well, of course. I've got Colin. I've got Zach. You're Ron Hanks. Like, print the thing.
Approved.
Yeah, and it's one of those like printers that's like,
and
I'm
you got to
sitting
tear
there.
off the thing on the
So
side.
she prints off this temporary equity card, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm celebrating, and there's no one around. You know, you're all alone in New York. I haven't made any friends yet or anything, and I've always heard that you can go to Sardi's, the restaurant, and show this equity card, and you go upstairs to where the actors go. And it was in between shows, in between the break. They have a morning show and a matinee show and an evening show. And so I go there and they're like, yeah, right away, come on up. And I go up and this place is just buzzing with everybody, you know, from all these shows. It was so cool. I'm like sitting there, I'm like tears in my eyes. I'm like eating my like Brussels sprouts or whatever. And I'm just like, you know, I'm so excited. It's actually just like Kermit the Frog when he goes to Sardi's and there's the pictures behind him. And I'm like, one day, boys, one day I'm going to have my caricature up here, you know. And everyone's ignoring me. So the bill comes, I pay my bill with my credit card, you know, the guy leaves and he takes forever, ever to come back. And I'm like, well, it's New York. He stole my credit card. That's it. He comes back, puts the bill down. And he's like, just want to thank you, Mr. Hanks, for coming in today. and he walks away. And I'm looking at the bill and I look up and people are doing this to me. All around the restaurant. They're like, giving me the eye now. I'm like, what is this guy has gone around to all the tables and is like, that's Ron Hanks. That's Hanks. Wow. They're like, oh, my name somehow as if my last name makes me famous because of maybe Tom Hanks or something. So I get up and I leave and they're all eyeballing me. I was like, it was the craziest moment. So cool. So undeserved. But what a great first.
It was well deserved. You had a very good week. It was very well deserved.
Such a good week.
It was a great week. Well, how did that? I want to go back one. Well, let's start there. So I want to go back to the equity cards because I want people who are watching who don't even know like what that is to know what it is, and then like how you get it and why it's so important in the acting industry.
I mean, just on a practical level, I mean, Actors Equity is the, you know, basic union for theater and stage actors, and it's been around forever. And, you know, it was established to, you know, help protect actors, especially in New York and in Broadway. And if you are doing any show, I mean, it's like your entryway, and you don't just get it because you went to school. You don't just get it because, you know, you were in one play. You have to really build it. There's equity membership, candidacy. You have to be in 50 shows, et cetera. Or you really have to do the catch-22. You have to land a big role, or you have to land a role in like a national tour. TheaterWorks USA was such a great organization because it allowed so many young actors to enter the union at a younger age and give them a better shot to grow. And that's what happened here with me. I was able to enter the union that way. From, you know, you have to have the equity card to audition for equity shows, like Broadway shows, but then you have to get your card from the Broadway shows. So this sort of allowed me to jump over that.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was great. And I got health insurance. It was so needed at that time in my life. And then what was interesting is now, once that show was over and I was returned back to New York and I'm dumped into a pool of actors, that's where the struggle really was, because then suddenly I have my card, I'm in the union, I can go to any audition I want, but I'm in New York with a lot of other people with one show now on my resume.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where that struggle then started to be. I just had to start over. I mean,
was that sort of the reason why you moved to California, or was that completely different?
No, that was completely different. I mean, I ended up working in New York for about 5 years. I wanted to change, and my girlfriend at the time was moving to LA. I was like, yes, I want to move to LA too. And moving out here, I mean, I sniffed it out instantly that the focus and the energy and drive in Los Angeles is obviously towards film and television. There is a wonderful creative group of playwrights and of theater that is out here. I have so many friends that are involved with it, but I just I just didn't vibe in it. I just didn't vibe in the scene. I don't know. And I did one play. It was great, but I just was like, the audience here is film and TV. And so I just kind of did the same route. Jumped in, I got a commercial agent right away. That led to some commercials right away. And that commercial success, like, gave me a little bit of money. And that, like, helped me join the union out here and join, Screen Actors Guild. And that just helped, like, propel me forward to feel confident. And then started doing the short films with every, school in town, from USC and UCLA and New York Film Academy, anywhere I could get in and get experience that way, I did it. So between commercials and student films, that's where it all launched. And then you start making connections and growing from there.
And then you decide, well,
and look at me now. Look at this.
Look at that. You have
tree.
A Christmas tree. Is it a real Christmas tree?
No, I don't.
It looks real.
No, it's beautiful. I got that from Michael's or something like that.
Of course.
It's beautiful.
It looks great. Thanks for putting it up for me. So, hey, listen, I can't have a tree because my cats eat them and then throw them up. So I appreciate your tree. So then you start a production company, because why not?
Yeah. Right.
Was that everything? I'm sure that's not an easy task to do. So how has your what have you learned from doing that?
Well, I mean, I think that we've had the production company for 7 years now, and as projects come and go, and you're going to start this one, going to start that one. I mean, to say the through line that I have learned from all this is relationships, and it really is, friendships and contacts that you have. And I don't like the word networking, because we're all a network, and we're all a pretty small network. Actually, there's not a lot of us compared with United States of America or the world that are actually in the industry. So it's making connections and meeting people, and sometimes those relationships work out for a short amount of time, and then it's like dating. Sometimes you date people. You don't have to marry every person you work with. You work with them for a little bit, then you move on. But remembering as you go the people who you love, the people who you're in love with, the work you're in love with. You may not be able to get to that project for years. You may not be able to get to that project for. I mean, we're working on something now that took, 6 years to develop. And meanwhile, we're like, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to do this? Do you want to having those conversations? And I think having the production company, people tell me their ideas more. Like I get to hear people open up about their passion projects, and then we get to go and do them.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel really honored, really lucky, really blessed to have that opportunity to do that.
Yeah. What a life. What an opportunity. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Fun fact, did you know, while I was reading about you, that Lee Garlington and Miles were on my show to talk about Broken?
What?
Yeah, like a year and a half ago. Like when it came out, they were on here.
You know what? I did know that. I did know that. I did know that is how I started following you.
Oh,
I had forgotten about that till right now. But that's how I started following you in the show.
Seems like it was like 6 years ago, but
it really does.
Not that long ago.
Okay, I know that this is so what a difference. And I've been a member of the Television Academy now for 4 years or something. It really is something that I'm proud of, and maybe almost 5. And I wear that as a badge of honor and pride that I get to vote for the Emmys, and I get to go to the parties and things like that. I never would have imagined some of the experiences that I get to do. And you want to talk about feeling blessed and stuff. Some people don't. I don't know if I feel blessed from it. It's so cool. Okay. And I'm still like a kid in a candy store, but doing Broken and getting to help produce Broken and being a part of that was so special, because it was this again, naivete that we just didn't know. Like, we campaigned so hard. I mean, those producers, like with Miles and Lee and gosh, why can't I remember anymore? Everybody. Oh my God.
We'll insert it. We'll do a voiceover. We'll insert it later. It'll be fine. We'll have a
Everybody that
scroll
damn
names.
paid for it. So just being there and just going up to everyone talking about this show that we had done, this short form series. I mean, there was this naivete about it, and it can never be replicated. You only get the first time to do it, and it worked. People watched the show, and people voted for Miles, and they voted for Lee Garlington. And Miles is more of a newcomer, but Lee's been around forever. No offense to Lee, she's such a storied career.
Yeah.
But just that experience, I'll never have that again. The experience of we were sitting, oh my gosh, we sat in front of the Full House cast or Fuller House cast at the Emmys, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, Bob Saget is in front of me. Like, this is insane. He's right
they
there.
sat Bob Saget behind me.
Like,
I'm
insane. Jane Lynch is like 2 rows in front of me, and who happened to be friends with them. I was just like, Jane, I'm here too. And she's like, what are you doing here? It's so cool. I hope I never get so jaded by the failures in Hollywood that the times I have messed up or I have failed or I've gotten my hopes up and the rug pulled out from underneath me, or all those things that work to break you down. I hope I never get so jaded that I can't be wide-eyed and naive in the sense of taking in the wonder and how lucky this is that we get to do this, because you've got to put that in perspective of not only where I'm from in Little Rock, Arkansas, and how I grew up and how I could have never imagined the fun stuff I get to do, but also in the first world perspective, in the luck of the first world's perspective, and in the luck of the white privilege role too, and the luck of the white male role too. Like, I mean, you want to talk about privilege? Holy you know what I mean? Like, I don't negate that. And I hope that I never get so jaded or cynical that I take it for granted. Or I want to keep that fresh and be grateful for it all the time.
Yeah, I say that all the time. Like, it's a lot of work, but I feel so lucky I get to play for work. Like, most of my time is spent playing, and it's so I know how lucky I am.
Yeah.
So I totally get that. You one of your things that you've been playing with is this new Hey, there it is.
Okay, this is awesome because I mean, this is like breaking news here that I'm letting you break this, that like we're getting distribution for this film.
Yes.
And so after the end, thank you for bringing it up. I forgot. I'm like have to plug
that's my job.
Yeah. So after the end is a movie that is like my directorial debut, and then my wife actually shot it. She's the cinematographer on the film, and it happens to be about a pandemic, and we shot it before the pandemic. In fact, when we were pitching this at Cannes, let me name drop that.
No big deal.
At the Cannes Film Market, we were showed the trailer that we'd put together, and some of the buyers at the time were like, one guy looks at it and he's like, "What is this? No one knows what a
so
pandemic."
Unrealistic.
This would never happen. What is this? And literally we were just like, the silver lining of the pandemic is going to be that our movie sold and that we got distribution for it, and it'll be out in 2021, hopefully late spring, very first part of early summer, from what I'm hearing. But it's about a young boy who's 16 years old. He was a doomsday prepper at the time, planning for something like a super tornado or something like that. And a pandemic happens, wipes out everybody, wipes out the whole population. He quarantines in a tornado shelter. He turns a tornado shelter into this bunker that he lives in. And so he comes out after about a year because he's running out of water, he's running out of supplies, and everyone's gone. And so he sets out across Oklahoma. It was all shot in Oklahoma on location, all across the state. Sets out on his bicycle and tries to find help. And he runs immediately into a girl who's pregnant. So you can start to piece together that there's more people alive. And there's three bad guys chasing her across the state. And so he tries to help her. It's really much more about survival. It's much more about like self-reliance. The whole idea of, no one can exist on their own. That's what the movie is about. Just set in the world that now we do understand what a pandemic is. And we do know like it is real. There was a toilet paper joke in the movie that like, again, the original buyers were like, what is this toilet paper stuff? Even me as the director, I was like, maybe I should cut this toilet paper bit. Like finds a pack of toilet paper in this like abandoned gas station, and it's like the best thing he's ever found. And anyway, so now it gets a laugh when people have watched that for that moment alone.
You're like the Simpsons, where they like predict.
Yeah.
You can go back to all of their old episodes, and everything has happened. I hope when that's ready to come out, that we can maybe get the cast on the show and talk about
that would be so great. They would love that.
I would love it. Ron, thank you for getting up this morning and for hanging out with me.
Absolutely. I'm going to go have some more sugar cookies and coffee because we've got a full day ahead.
There you go. I'll give you my coffee.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Thank you. Ron Hanks, everyone. We will be right back with Stacey Andon after this.
Fruz Balls. Funny name, serious plant power. Healthy, whole food goodness in one single bite. Wineria SA. Let's enjoy some great vino together. Let's do a virtual wine tasting, enjoy exclusive artisan wines, and join the club. Neon Castaway. Handmade accessories for a colorful life. Teenus. Handcrafted, farm to cup, organic, quality. The Classic Theater, creating excellent theater in San Antonio, Texas that is relevant, diverse, entertaining, and transformative.
All right. Welcome back. I would never fake how excited I am that my next guest is here. She's a life coach. She's one of my best friends. I love her. You're going to love her. She's going to be here every month talking about stuff. So if you ever have questions for her, email us or put them in the comments. Twitter us. I don't know how, whatever. However you can connect with us, do that, please. Please welcome Stacey Andon.
Yeah, Twitter us, whatever that means.
Stacey, everyone has been great with their voice, their robot voice.
No robots today? Okay.
So we're just gonna, whatever. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me. This is like one of my favorite days of the month. So I'm not faking it either. And both of your guests before me had beautiful energy. So nobody's faking it today.
Nobody's faking it. There were so many times during both of those conversations that I was like, I bet Stacey's jaw is dropping. I bet she's like, writing this down. Yes. Yeah, they were
purple glitter wall.
Come on.
In my life.
Did you even know that existed?
No.
I didn't either. But I feel like I feel like that's 100% something you would do. Like your entire house would be glitter.
Totally. If my husband wouldn't probably put the smack down, although we do have some purple in this house because again I have to let the creativity out.
Yeah. You could just
usually it's in a bathroom. This is where the purple lives. So I don't think you want me live from the bathroom.
I mean, I'm not mad about it. We can do an entire episode. I'll sit in there.
Sure.
Mine isn't as cute. So Stacey brought up the other day when we were talking about her appearing on the show, she was like, let's talk about faking it. And I was like, that is such a great conversation right now. I feel like everyone's talking about like Zoom fatigue and I was on Zoom things all weekend outside of work, and then I'm there on work, and you do, I think, especially now, maybe you have a different opinion. Like after all of this sitting at home, we're all like sort of faking it that we're happy to be on every Zoom and that we're happy that like I had relatives that were supposed to come for Christmas who aren't coming. So now I do have to fake it when I talk to my mom on the phone and tell her that I'm going to be alone because otherwise she's going to panic, like there's so much like I have to maneuver.
She's watching the show probably.
She probably is. And then she'll call me after this and she'll be bawling and be like, Richard, I am so sorry. But yeah, anyway, that was kind of my take when you brought it up about faking it, and you probably have a laundry list of ways.
Well, I love what you said because we are still so much tied to Zoom, and you're right, there's this whole piece of Zoom fatigue. But to me, we're like getting on and we're like, we're trying to smile and do the chit chat, and maybe we're not feeling it, or again, whatever's going on with our family. My family loves to do Zooms and what have you, but I'm on Zoom all day.
Yeah.
I don't want to get on, even though I love my family. I don't want to. And so, yeah, you're right. Everybody, I think, is kind of trying to maybe put on a happy face a little bit, even around the holidays. Oh, good is coming on the other side and what have you. And we're kind of skipping over the truth that a lot of times we aren't feeling it if we were being really honest.
Yeah.
And I think that pressure to not say the truth, right, is something we've all been socialized. So be nice and be polite and be friendly. And don't tell anybody if you're really upset or you're having a down day, because you don't want to bring everybody down. It's like Debbie Downer's SNL skit from years ago. You don't want to be that person,
Yeah.
right? God, she did that. That was a great skit.
The Debbie Downer, when then she would be like,
Debbie Downer, yeah.
yeah.
So what do we do? What do you do? Do you, and I have lots of ideas, but what do you do instead? Or do you just try to fake it and get through it? What's your go-to?
It depends on the situation.
Yeah.
So, you know, if it depends on who's on the other side of that Zoom, because sometimes I can be, you know, if it's work related, then that's, you know, part of the job that you have to be. It's like being in retail. You have to know everything about everything, and you have to be always on. So it sort of depends. While you were talking about that, I was thinking about my show, and I usually will do the show for as long as I can do it without faking it, and then I take a break.
Yeah.
Like, that's when I know I don't have a scheduled, like, I'm doing the season from here to here. I just sort of do it until I get tired, and I don't want to, you know, and then I need that creative break, and I don't want to fake it while I'm talking to anybody.
Well, and that's a normal human thing, right? This idea that we're supposed to be on 100,000,000% of the time, or even on at work 100% of the time, I really think does a disservice, because when you're kind of gearing up and using that energy, like you said, it takes a toll on us, because there's a disconnect between how we really feel and then trying to like power through the like, all right, I'm gonna put on my face today and go out. And I think a lot of us, again, we're tired when we do that. Maybe we have a headache we can't get rid of. Maybe just don't feel as good because we're out of alignment when we come back and say, yeah. So here's what I have to say. And you made a really good point. If you are used to just always being kind of like that smiley, happy-go-lucky person, even when you're not, start somewhere where it feels very safe and very small to take a step out. So maybe it's one of your really good friends, and you just say, you know what? I know I've been on all week, but I'm not feeling it today. So you allow yourself a safe place where you know somebody is going to be receptive, and you start practicing being more honest with a person, people, or you know, also just, I think like a lot of times people are trying to do Zooms after work, right, to stay connected. I think that like, no, I don't want to do that is a reasonable thing to say right now.
Yeah.
And I think the more honest we all are, this is a global pandemic. We have collective trauma. Even if we're all having very different experiences, we are still carrying a mental weight that we would not typically be carrying. And we kind of been in this kind of survival, keep going, keep going. Okay to say to yourself, you know what? I'm not happy today, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it is. I say that all the time, that like tears are just as important as laughing. Like, and
Absolutely.
you need that energy as well. Um, I had a question that I was so excited to ask you, and then I got all involved in what you were talking about, and I completely lost it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It'll
Okay.
come back to me.
It'll come back. It'll come
Oh,
back.
it's like the like updated, like, it's not you, it's me sort of thing. You know, like,
Oh,
kind of. You
yeah.
know, it's because you start to like think that it's personal. That if
Yeah,
someone isn't in a great mood when they're around you, or they need that
absolutely.
moment to relax.
And I think that's why we do it, right? Because we want to try to be nice, and we feel like we will hurt somebody's feelings if we don't, you know, if we're more honest and saying I'm having an off day. So here's a skill we all need to practice is number one, being willing to disappoint people, because we might. When I
Yeah.
tell my family, hey, I don't want to be Thanksgiving, there was like some proposition for a 5-hour Zoom call.
Oh gosh.
All the no's in the world. And they, you know, I'm sure there were some people that were unhappy that I didn't just do it. And I was like, no, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
And so we have to learn how to be comfortable with that. And I also think, here's the other thing, you're right. We don't know how to not take it personally. We make up a story in our head. Oh my gosh, that person's mad at me. Da, da, da.
Yep.
Ultimately, we have no control over what anybody thinks of us. Whether we are the most on point, happiest person in the world may or may not actually resonate with the person depending on their own state of affairs. So, maybe somebody says, gosh, why are they always happy? I'm miserable over here and I'm just barely getting by. I just think if we want to have more truthful, authentic relationships, being willing to be a little bit more honest with each other will go a long way. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be uncomfortable. And I'm practicing it right along with all my clients and everybody that I talk to. That it's not something that comes to us naturally.
Yeah.
So we do, you're right. We have to just be willing to be like, I'm okay, even if they don't get it. I'm okay, right? And just again, we do, you're right. We say, oh, it's not you, it's me, whatever. And that always kind of goes over like a lead balloon.
Yeah.
But the more I think we say, like, how are you really? Because how many people in the world say, oh, I'm fine?
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest lie.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing everywhere. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
It's okay. And I'm not expecting you to try to make me happy. And it's okay sometimes. I don't believe the world is meant to just be in a state of happiness. There's going to be moments where we're going to feel sad or disappointed or frustrated. And if we just make more human space for that without taking it personally, I think we will actually feel better. And we will physically feel better. We'll emotionally feel better. And our relationships, I think, will benefit. Don't start with the trickiest person.
Right. Right. Don't start with my mother who's going to have a breakdown if you tell her no. Don't
Right.
do that.
Yeah. Start with low hanging fruit, the places where you can practice it, get your brave on. And the more you practice that, courageous saying of that. I've also done a lot of business coaching this year, and I've said to leaders, be really aware of what employees are not saying, what they're feeling pressured to do in terms of showing up and, putting on the brave face, and be willing to have those very vulnerable conversations. Like, it's okay if you're struggling this week. Like, there's no judgment. I'm not going to be like writing this down and using it against you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's we talk about that a lot with the nonprofit Hearts Need Art that I work for. Of we meet patients where they're at. So like we're not trying to change it. We're not trying to make them better. We're not trying we're just meeting them wherever they're at. And I think that's a great kind of way to go into everything. And meeting yourself where you're at. Like being honest with yourself and being like, this is how I am today. And
the more you give yourself permission to say, gosh, I'm having a rough morning, the easier it will flow through us. What happens is when we deny it and we try to fake and try to be happy when we're not, we create resistance, or kind of what people call stuckness, because we haven't really said, okay, I'm angry right now about whatever this is, and I'm going to allow myself to feel that. Maybe you don't make it public, you just allow it in private. It moves through us in a way that we're not like bringing it Monday through Friday all week. And I think we're scared. We're scared to think, oh my gosh, if I allow myself to be angry, I'm never not going to be angry.
Right.
So that's another reason why we hold back and we're like, oh, just gotta skip over this.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Right. Next.
Why if you can have the real thing? Hello.
I know, and then you get real connections with people instead of yes, true. I'm lucky that I get to talk to Stacey a lot because she's one of my best friends from when I lived in Maryland, and most of the time when I talk to her, I end up with goosebumps, and I'm usually crying at some point before or during or after our conversations. You're so you just make me so happy to that you're even around in my life. But for those who don't know Stacey or are not in her sphere yet, you have a great new ebook that I wanted to talk about because I think it's a beautiful. It looks beautiful. It is beautiful. It's stunning from start to finish. What's in it, and then also visually. I'm so happy that you put this together.
You know what I realized? I do so much at the end of the year because I think even if you don't feel the significance of the calendar year shift, like for me, my new year feels way more in September. The fall always feels, but there is something about the calendar year. Like we can look at the last 12 months and really be reflective. I think most of us don't want to look because it feels like, that bad episode, Seinfeld episode where it's like, let's talk about all the ways you disappointed me. If we just allow ourselves to like, ooh, what do I want to take with me? What served me well? What maybe I'm ready to really let go of, like the faking it? And how do I want to be intentional coming into the year? Because otherwise, the world's going to tell you what you should care about in January. Resolutions, going to the gym, losing that 10 pounds, right? Like there's a lot of noise out there. This ebook is about, instead of you kind of taking whatever the world is offering, you creating it from a really powerful, beautiful, but vulnerable to yourself, right? You're walking through these reflections. You and you alone are the ones that, to me, is who I want. It is who matters in terms of what you're saying to yourself. It's like, stop faking whatever you've been saying to you and really get honest and clear, because I think so many people, they have these great big goals and visions, and then by February they fizzled out.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, how do you do it differently where you create that sustainable vision and intention that really does create the change you're looking for? You're not like, oh, another year's passed and I haven't lost that 10 pounds yet. Put that back on the list.
Again, yeah. Well, and then that creates such a like, oh, that's what I didn't do.
Yeah.
So much disappointment.
Nobody wants to. Yeah. So
Right.
why would you ever want to reflect if you're like, oh, well, I didn't do that and I didn't do that. I want to have fun. I always infuse everything with, to your point about playfulness and fun and ways that we can, again, get curious about our lives, but not in a way that we're going to be this like judge and mean spirited self. That doesn't work.
No. It can't work. Like it can't have any positive outcome from that.
Absolutely. Do it. We so do it.
Of course we do. Yes, it's so easy. How can people get the ebook? Is it available?
I priced it below like stocking stuffer price.
Yes.
And I think like we're supposed to get a snowstorm here in the middle of the week. Like this is a perfect activity when it snows or it's quiet, maybe even after Christmas, or whatever holiday you're celebrating. Like when there's that little bit of a lull, you take an hour or two, you have a nice cup of coffee or tea, and you get really playful. So you can find it on my website. It's under the readings tabs because I need to change that. But those are the things I sell. And you can click it. It says close your year and begin again. So by clicking on that, it will take you to the purchase page, and it's so easy. And it comes as you said, a PDF. So you get to play with it. You can print it out. You can do whatever you want and it's yours.
And it isn't one of those like, here's a 300-page book on how to make yourself better. She has great activities in there, which I love. Like their art activities, and I think I stole this from you once for patients in the hospital. Your bomb, what's it called?
Oh, the gratitude bomb, which,
yes.
And I apologize because UPS or somebody's still something. So if you can hear my dog,
listen,
he is absolutely the the man in charge of all Christmas and gift deliveries.
He should be.
I got that inspiration from Liz Gilbert, the author of Eat, Pray, Love, and she's bunch of other things. She posted that on her Instagram either a year or two ago. But it was, again, about really stopping. We don't stop to really think about all the things we've actually accomplished, all the things. It's like what Ron Hanks was saying about being so grateful. We don't probably spend as much energy and attention. We always think, oh, I didn't do this, or you're right, like that. That energy breeds something to me that doesn't really inspire us. When we start to think about how we really we walked through a year with a global pandemic. We did so many amazing things. And so this allows a little bit of art in there too. You don't need to be an artist to do it, but everybody I've done it with has created beautiful like art pieces as a result. So to me, that makes it fun. I love to get out the markers and the crayons and the colored pencils and the stickers. I am an 8-year-old at heart.
I love that. I think that's so important. So important to keep that part of you alive. Do you have any tips going into all the holidays?
Yeah.
For everyone.
For everybody. Okay. Keep it simple. Right? This year, whatever the big plans are, whatever other things, I realized for myself on Thanksgiving, there were only 3 of us, and I was going to cook all these things, and I ended up just cooking and cleaning up and cooking, and I was like, all right, next holiday, I'm going to make 1 or 2 of my signature favorite dishes ahead of time. And then we're either going to order Chinese food or whatever. We are going to keep it simple. So I think the simpler, the better, because we're already taxed and tired. And giving yourself permission, like instead of the judgment of like, oh, I wish it should be this way or that, like big permission slip to make it up as you go right now. And if you're not feeling it, don't fake it. Really don't fake it. Like, how can you make it a little bit smaller so that, to your point, if you need to take the rest, take the rest. If you need to say, yeah, we're not doing a big gingerbread house extravaganza this year, we just don't. We either buy the kit at Target or we do something else. We make it doable for ourselves rather than putting all this pressure and stress. I want people to think, what can I take off my plate? Start to think about what that is. Again, start with the low hanging fruit and then work your way. If you're really being brave, speak it out loud like I did. I was like, we're not doing Christmas this way because Thanksgiving I was exhausted and that wasn't the point. So being willing, and I think all our loved ones, again, our loved ones want what hopefully to take care of us and be what's best. So you being the brave one to start the conversation, somebody else might put their shoulders down and say, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said that. I was feeling.
Yeah. You have a giveaway for someone in the audience. Tell us about it.
Do you think we could do more than one? You know me, I'm super generous.
I mean, there are millions of people watching right now. So if we want to do
the number 3, it's like my number. So I don't know what you think, but I'd love to raffle off 3 of these amazing ebook, workbook, whatever we're calling it, close your year, so that when you get that snowy day or that quiet day, you can, and again, you can take pieces of it. This is the part I didn't want to make a 50-page book where people are like, I'm not doing that.
Right, because it's overwhelming.
Do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do we say? 3 people. That's what
3 people. So if you want to win Stacey's ebook, make sure you like the show, share the show, heart the show. I don't know what the other just don't thumbs down
all
it.
The things.
If you thumbs down it, you get removed and kicked out. And do that, and we will pick that winner next week. Or should we? Do you want me to do it next week, or do you want to do it next month when you're on the show, and then
whatever you're thinking. I mean, this is a great thing to do in December or January. You don't if you're already feeling stressed this month, then you can, people can wait and dive in when it gets a little bit quieter. And it is like, to me, January is kind of that month of restoring.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I'll defer to whatever your expert judgment is on that.
All right, Stacey Andon, I love you so much. And I appreciate you coming on every month and hanging out with us.
Yeah, so if anybody has any questions for us next month as we're starting, I have lots to say about resolutions and why I think they're a terrible idea. So maybe we'll spam about that next month.
Yes, and then we can talk about how awful Facebook is. Don't kick us off of here. Oh, yeah. And then you said something about thinking it versus like saying it out loud. And I think I find that all the time where there's something about saying it out loud that like makes it true to me, and then I'm held more accountable for it, and I kind of want to talk about that.
Yeah. It starts in form kind of in a thought, but it gets more power when we breathe it out loud, we write it down.
Yeah.
There's just an energetic magnetism that it's the process. It's like if you were baking bread, right? You'd start with all the ingredients, then you form a dough. Then once you create the dough, it rises. Right? There's this process. Form and thinking is the beginning. It's the ingredients. You really want to create that bread and not just have flour and water and yeast, putting it into form, writing it out, sharing it with somebody, saying it. Those are the ways that you start to really bake up whatever it is that you're imagining in that big, beautiful, like field of infinite possibility.
I love that. Okay, well, there's my answer. I guess we don't have to do an entire thing on it. Perfect.
There you go.
Love it. Love it. Go to Stacey Andon for all of your answers and all of your help.
There you go.
No big deal. Stacey, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Richard. Always, always have fun. And you had like this just felt like a beautiful dose of again, inspiration. Every guest you had on just felt like, ooh, this is what I need sometimes when I'm not having a great day, is just letting other people's enthusiasm rub off.
Listen, I'm here to make your day richer, and that's really what
You
happened
do.
today. So you're welcome.
I appreciate it always.
All right. I will talk to you later, my friend.
All right, take care.
Bye. We'll be right back after this.
Lick Honest Ice Creams. Know what you're licking, y'all. Made in Austin, Texas since 2011. Unique flavors inspired by what's in season locally. Go Vegan San Antonio, a vegan comfort food truck located at The Block in San Antonio. Rebel Designs, handcrafted sterling silver jewelry designed by Shelley, inspired by nature. The right fit, style, makeup, and fitness, taking the stress out of getting dressed.
Welcome back. Can I just say that I love my show? I love doing my show. I love talking to everybody I get to talk to. These are a lot of times complete strangers who have never spoken a single word to me, who agree to come on here and hang out for 20 minutes. And some of them get up very early, and some of them, all of them, I appreciate so much. And for anybody who watches, thank you. This show has been a dream. Okay, see, this is what Stacey Andon brings out in me. Now I'm gonna be crying about it. Anyway, so let's give away some stuff. Here's the crown of giveaways. Like the show, share the show, heart the show, tag someone in the comments who you think should watch it, and then they get put in here, and then we give something away. And this week's winner is Aaron Ramos. I feel like I need to prove myself to you that I'm not cheating. There you go. That's the winner. Aaron, congratulations. You can pick something out of all those great commercials. We have other prizes out there. You could win Stacey's ebook if you wanted it. And so you get to pick. So let me know. Message us, Aaron. Okay? All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching today. Enjoy your Monday. Enjoy your week. We will see you next Monday. Goodbye.